What is good, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Major Push Wrestling, the talk show where we give wrestling the major push that it deserves. And that is right. Do not adjust your sets, folks. We are live. So bear with us as we have first time live here. I'm working the switchboard, trying to figure everything out. We've got this. Maybe I do that. Let's see here what all of our options are. I'm excited. So we got a great panel here. We've got Dave Scheffler, we've got Matthew Hostetter, and we've got the Dark Knight himself, Oofman, joining us live via satellite, a la The Rock 2012. We've got him here, folks. And yes, we do, in fact, have a live chat. Hello, chat. So if you are watching live, do not forget to leave a comment. I believe I can show them on screen just like that. So happy WrestleMania week, post WrestleMania week. We are doing big things. We're going to try this stuff, see how it works. Next thing's up. I'm going to try and get my background figured out, but we will worry about all of that later. So I'm going to throw it around. Dave, how are you feeling today?
Thank you, Gino, for having me. And we're live, guys. I appreciate you having me on. We're going to have a good talk post WrestleMania. I'm sure you got some good topics for us to discuss, and appreciate being here.
Absolutely. And looks like Papa Gino's original channel is in the chat with us. Good to see you. Yeah, Dave, I appreciate you joining us. I know that sometimes real life can hit us pretty hard. And the one thing about entertainment in general is that it can be a good distraction. And no better distraction than professional wrestling, especially in the WrestleMania season. Matthew is joining us. Matthew, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Good to be part with three of the four. No four horsemen of the Florida chapter of No DQ. 3 weeks from now, we'll be meeting in person for Backlash, and we already have our first confirmed match, which I think is going to be something we're all looking forward to. And I feel within the next couple of weeks, that's probably going to be a topic of what else are we going to expect from Backlash. But I'm excited to see what we talk about tonight as well.
Absolutely. And we will be talking about that. But as we get closer to Backlash, we will probably do a go home edition of Major Push Wrestling where we're all talking about what we're looking forward to for sure. Now we have Oofman here. Oofman, who must have gotten a black eye or something, definitely doesn't want to show his face to us right now. We've never seen Oofman and Batman in the same room at the same time. Take that what you will. Oofman, if you can hear me, how you doing, bud?
Doing great, guys. I hope you can hear me. 1,000 apologies. Can't be on camera, but when you said Major Push is going live, I felt like I had to be here for this monumental, historic occasion. So, yeah, it's good to see you guys, and I'm really curious because I don't think I know what the topics are. So I'm very curious what we're gonna, as I like to say, what we're gonna gab about tonight.
Absolutely, and big shout out to Oofman. We would not be able to do this without him. Big shout out to anybody watching along live or on demand. It's super appreciated. It doesn't go unnoticed, and I will do my best to get all the comments up there. And guess what, guys? It doesn't cost you anything to show up in the live chat. No super chat ability as of yet. So get while the getting is good. And you are very right, Oofman. I did not provide you guys with a list of topics today, not because I'm super unprofessional and super busy, but because I wasn't really even sure we were going to be able to make this thing happen. But thanks to the will of God and the will of Oof, we've made it happen. So all of our takes are going to be unprepared, and they're going to be hopefully hot and spicy. So let's get right into it. WrestleMania weekend happened. I do want to hear some of your guys' thoughts. We don't want this to be a WrestleMania breakdown, so to speak, because I gave my thoughts on Monday, but I do want to hear from you guys. Maybe what was the thing you were most happy or surprised about? So we could do three things: the thing you're most happy about, the thing you're most surprised about, and the thing that you liked the least. All right. So I will go first to give you guys time to concoct your responses. So the thing I was most happy about was not one match in particular, not one outcome in particular, even though y'all know Mr. Whoop That Tricky Two-Time Lemon Pepper Stepper is going to be carrying us to the promised land, as a bunch of other new champions are. But I am most happy with the improvement from night 1 to night 2. That is what I was most happy about leaving WrestleMania. And, having a controversial, potentially hated, or what's the word we like to use in wrestling? Oh, yeah, polarizing first night of WrestleMania that felt like it was booked by people who don't know how to book, and the matches were short and all that stuff. Then you fast forward to night 2, and it opened with a relatively short match, but that short match was better than every other match on night 1, and it was arguably the shortest match of the weekend. So I don't really want to hear, unless you guys want to say that, but I don't want to hear from the internet wrestling community that short matches are a problem. It's for me, wrestling is and always will be about storytelling. First and foremost, there's a quote that I love when it comes to entertainment, and it doesn't just apply to wrestling, it applies to movies, TV shows, is action without narrative purpose is just visual noise. So let me say that again for the people in the back. Action without narrative purpose is just visual noise. We've all seen movies that are just big action fest, but there's not a lot of stakes, there's not a lot of story, there's not a lot of drama because there's no narrative purpose behind a fight. You could have explosions and Michael Bayisms and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, you could be on the edge of your seat with two people just having a conversation. And nothing against the AEW fans, but sometimes I find that AEW values the action more than the narrative purpose. And they're getting better for sure. But suffices all this to say that my best, my happiest, my most exciting thing about WrestleMania was the improvement from night 1 to night 2. Was it planned? Was it a pivot? We will, I'm sure we'll find out this summer with Unreal Season 3, but that was my most exciting thing. Now, my most surprising thing, I'm going to guess that a couple of you guys will share this opinion. My most surprising thing was the end of Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. He seemingly retired. I did not expect that. And I didn't do perfect predictions. Go check that video out from Monday that I did with Noah, one of the people who comes on to Major Push Wrestling as well, the No DQ fam like the rest of the boys are. But Brock Lesnar retiring, I didn't see it coming. It was surprising, but also very, very happy for him. He went out his way. He didn't get Gunther'd, and he can still get Gunther'd, but at least he retired his way, right? And if he does get Gunther'd at SummerSlam, he could be coming out of retirement for his advertised last match ever, and it won't take anything away from putting his boots and his gloves in the ring. Now, my least favorite thing, and this is difficult because I really do try to find the positives within all of this. Hey, there's the handsome devil himself. I really do try to find the positives. Yeah, don't do that. The positives in these situations, but I would say that if I had to pick my least favorite moment, or the thing I was least happy about, was, I don't really want to go here with this, and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, so forgive me. But knowing that we're going to have to be another year without Bianca Belair was disappointing to me. I'm just going to say that. I am in no way shaming her for being pregnant. Good for her. She is creating life. That's literally the reason why creatures exist on this planet, on God's green earth, is to reproduce and create new life. It's the most beautiful thing you can do with life. But I am a huge Bianca Belair fan, and I was really hoping that we would be able to get her back after a year-long absence already. I was at WrestleMania 37. Night one ended with her music playing probably for about 30 minutes straight. And they didn't stop it once the show was over. They played it on the way out. Like, I could hear it in the parking lot. Like, it was fantastic. I love Bianca Belair. I love her music. I love everything about her. It disappointed me to know that we will not get to see her and her talents displayed for us. But I am no way mad at her, or am I no way taking away from the beauty of the life that she's created. Now, as far as storytelling, I think we all know I don't like that Randy Orton lost. He should have won. Everything could have been the same, and he wins. Boom, changes things. I'm not one of the people that dislikes Pat McAfee's involvement, but I will give you guys the opportunity to potentially prove me wrong, or we will hear other things. So I'm going to throw it over now to Matthew. Matthew, your most favorite thing or most exciting thing, as well as your most surprising thing, and maybe the thing that left you the most disappointed.
Well, my favorite thing was, and it's something we all talked about last week. It's something we talked about during the No DQ predictions. It was the crowning of two major talents getting their WrestleMania moment. Obafemi beating Brock and looking like a complete monster doing it, practically no-selling the F5, and then destroying Brock, and then, leading to, shockingly, as you mentioned, what appears to be Brock's retirement. And then, of course, the birth of the Trick Williams Lemon Pepper Stepper era, which I honestly hope he comes out with a new Lemon Pepper Stepper strap for the U.S. title, because that would be perfectly on brand. And of course, you had to love the CVS title, or the CVS receipt Roby wore.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the feet, Lash Legends looked great. Jade had her best match probably ever. And Javon looked like a star that tells you one day he will be Intercontinental or U.S. champion. Maybe not yet. And I mean, just overall, again, like you said, the Night 2 card was amazing. And that kind of goes into my surprise of Night 2, which was the fact that we learned after Mania that TKO has full creative control and can pretty much overthrow Triple H's booking. And you could tell that between Night 1 and Night 2. Night 1, while it did have some good results, definitely felt like TKO's meddling. And I was like you. I had no problem with Pat. I wanted more from Pat. I was disappointed he was just basically the fall guy. And I didn't understand why Orton attacked him and then still lost. You know, I wanted Orton to win. Orton should have won. And then Night 2 definitely felt like Triple H, Paul Heyman, all those guys booked Night 2. And it was near perfect. Yes, there was a certain match that was missing, but I won't mention it because I've mentioned it a bit. And there's a few other people that weren't on the card, but it was night and day. And I think it was, Mania 38 that kind of had the same resemblance. Like, one night you could tell Vince booked, and there was a lot of questionable times. And then there was another night where you could tell Triple H was booking, and everybody kind of went home happy. So we saw that again. And the thing I think I disliked the most wasn't even the wrestling or the commercials. It was all the fans mobbing, stalking, and attacking the pro wrestlers at the conventions, the hotels, and then people siding with the fans saying, "Oh, well, they're public figures. They should you pay they pay we pay your ticket, we pay for your uh we make your paychecks when we don't. We don't owe these guys. They don't owe us anything." And it's crazy, to see the footage of the one guy uh, filming Bailey and AJ, and Bailey pushing him away, telling him to go away, and then Punk knocking the camera out of his hands, and people are like, "Oh, this guy needs to sue. Punk needs to be fired. Punk is justified." If somebody did that to your wife, your girlfriend, you would have the same reaction. And if you're saying you don't, you're lying out of your ass. And
or you're not protective of
Yeah.
your woman, and
Yeah.
oh, we lost him there. But you said Punk should be fired, bro. WWE, and not you're saying that, but the
Yeah.
people online, dude. WWE will never, ever, ever, ever let CM Punk go again, because he would go right back to AEW, and he will bring them right back to where they were, million views a week. But continue.
and then the other thing was people are like, "Oh, this guy needs to sue Punk." I'm thinking, the footage is out there. You see this guy is the wrong. The only thing that's going to happen to this guy if he tries to sue Punk is Bailey's going to sue him, AJ's going to sue him, Punk is going to sue him, and then TKO is going to sue him, and he's going to be in so much debt he would have wished he never bought Mania tickets, because that's going to be a drop in the bucket compared to the amount of debt he's going to have in court fees. And it blew my mind that it wasn't just Punk. It was Drew McIntyre. It was Booker T being stuck by some guy in a bathroom. It was Royce Keys. It was Elena Black, the former Cora Jade. It was everybody. And it's for the amount of money that Vegas and WWE TKO made, there needs to be better security for the wrestlers, because that's just insane that they had to go through that. And that makes me sick as a wrestling fan, because we are true fans. We respect the wrestlers. I ran into Omos, Dawkins, and Montez at MegaCon. I just went up to them, said, "Hey, guys." Omos gave me a fist bump. It's like, "How you doing, buddy?" And walked off. That was it. I didn't ask for an autograph, because they were there dressed up as normal people, just wanting to be normal people like the rest of us. And that's what they are. And we need to respect that. If you're not at a convention or they're not in the arena, treat them like you would anyone else.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Matthew. One of my favorite stories involving a wrestler and fans is when I believe Kevin Owens was talking on Cody's podcast or CVV. Those are the only two I listened to, so it was one of those two. And he was at a gas station, and these guys come up to him like, they said something like, "Are you Kevin Owens?" And he straight up was like, "No. People tell me I look like him," or something like that. He was just like, "No." And then he said, like, "If you're not a fan enough to know that it's me and you got to ask, then I'm going to tell you no." And they left, and they didn't bother him again. So to me, I think that's hilarious, because, if he had said yes, they probably would have asked him for all this stuff potentially, or, maybe just a picture, maybe just to be like, high five or this or that. And that actually reminds me of a story that I have in my personal life at McDinton's in Tampa, where Drew McIntyre met his wife. Sheamus introduced him to that. Sheamus was really good friends with if you're watching, Chad, I apologize, but he was kind of a dweeby, do anything to get people to like him type of person. And Sheamus loved him, because Sheamus could just constantly mess with him. One time, Sheamus hit him with a stapler right in his chest, just because it was fun for them. But I was there one night, and I went up to Sheamus, obviously Sheamus. He's got his Irish hat on. He's massive, pure white, with his beard and everything. And I was like, yo, Sheamus, what's good? Like, all this stuff. And he's like, oh, that's not me, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, man, have a good night. Just want to say I'm a big fan. And I gave him a high five and he gave me a high five. So, like, if they're showing you that they don't want to be showered with attention and stuff, you can still just be like, all right, well, I appreciate you, respect you, I love what you do, and maybe still get to touch them or whatever. So there are ways to go about this in a respectful way. Matthew, so you have your hand up. We'll go to you, and then we'll throw it over to Dave.
I just wanted to give a quick story of an experience I had. Actually, it's almost been 20 years now, but me and my buddies, we went to a Raw and SmackDown Super Show. I think it was in Tampa, and we went to IHOP afterwards. We were sitting there talking about the show. Next thing we know, Kurt Angle, who happened to be eating there, I guess he was leaving, walked by our table, heard us talking, said, hey guys, have a nice day, have a nice evening. And we looked up and it's Kurt Angle, and we're like, wow, great show tonight. He's like, oh, thanks. And he actually shook our hands, let us take a picture, and then left. And that was very cool. He didn't have to do that because he was done wrestling. He was having dinner, probably ready to go to the hotel. But it was really cool that, he heard us talk about him, talking about the show, and showed that kind of respect, and we paid it back.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, like it's about respect, right? You get more with honey than you do with vinegar, and if you're nice about it, maybe you're not gonna get some type of thing. But everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame and all these types of things. But I'm gonna let Dave go and speak to this. So, Dave, what are your most exciting, your biggest surprise, and most disappointing moments from the week?
Thanks, Gino. I first of all want to say Matthew didn't finish the story about Omis. After he fist bumped him, he had to pick him up off the ground too.
Nah. That would have been cool.
But no. But now my favorite moment, first of all, you mentioned it, Gino. The second night was in whole was so much better than the first night. But my favorite moment was like Matthew. It was the crowning of the two of the three. We talked about it last week. How many of the three newcomers did we think were going to win out of Javon, Trick, and Oba? And all of us said pretty much it was going to be two of them. I know Matthew was the first to say two of the three, and he was right on board with that. But what I liked also about both matches, and this is very important, especially in the beginning, because it did even for Baron Corbin for years. They protected their moves. There was no countouts or no kickouts of finishers. They protected their moves, and even though I know they talked about it on the review Tuesday on No DQ about it being too short. I sent out a chat during the show that even though it was short, it did what it had to do. They told the story in a short amount of time between that and Brock taking off his shoes and everything. They told the story of they made Oba, and everybody kept saying that everybody wanted Brock to get one on Oba before the end of the build to WrestleMania. But the thing is, if you think about it, if you're going to build a monster, just like Goldberg was built in WCW, he didn't go on his back at all. He looked totally strong in every match. And I think they built, and that's why I talk about how Oba sounds like Goldberg. They're treating him like they treated Goldberg years ago. They made him look strong throughout the build and then followed it up by strapping the rocket to him, as Matthew said the other night. They strapped it to him, and same with Trick. I thought for sure after what happened Friday night on SmackDown, I let certain people talk me out of it that Trick wasn't going to win on Saturday or on Sunday, but Saturday, but he did go ahead and win. And I think they needed to do that. The only thing is I would have hoped for is this would have been selfish on my part. I was hoping Sammy would win by cheating, do the full heel turn, and then have the rematch at Backlash with us. That's what I was hoping for. But we got Trick annoyed it. I'm sure he's going to have a big match at SummerSlam. I can't wait to see who the build's going to be. I hope it's not Carmelo yet. They need to build Carmelo more because that story goes back to NXT. So I think that will come around at one point or another. So that's my good points. My surprising moments. My surprising moment, one of them is your disappointing moment. I was shocked by Bianca. We kept thinking it was due to the surgery only, but from what I saw on our no DQ chat today, that it looks like Bianca's 6 months pregnant. So I think this was a setup, and I knew. And when we were doing the watch party, I knew when she walked out and her face looked chunky. I said, "Is she pregnant?" And I said that made exactly why we didn't see her the last 2 months. That made sense, and they used the injury to protect that until she wanted to do this moment. And I'm glad that they gave her that moment because they did it for Becky, and the same way they gave her the moment. And she's gonna get a major pop when she gets back because I think it's gonna be probably a year and a half before she's back at least. Because it's not like you could just let the baby out and go right back to work. Just like Becky, it took a while, and Naomi, I'm sure, is going to take a while as she gave birth before WrestleMania to a boy. So I think we're going to be seeing. We may see her by next WrestleMania, possibly, maybe next Rumble. It depends. And I don't know if she'll go back to being the heel that she's been. It would fit the character, but being out that long, I have a feeling she's going to get a baby face pop too. But definitely Bianca's going to get a huge pop when she comes back, and we're going to still see the Rhea Bianca match at one point or another, hopefully. And my other surprising moment is I was surprised by the outcome of the Monday night, the main event on Saturday. I think that they ended up pivoting, to be honest with it, because they talked about the build to Backlash with the tag team match with McAfee and Orton against Cody and God forgot his name, Jolly Roll. They talked about that, and it didn't make sense where they RKO McAfee. I thought Randy would have won and then RKO'd him, saying I don't need you anymore. Also, it was surprising that as much of as heel that Randy was supposed to be, he played the stupid baby face just like Cody did in a prior match with Randy. He went and RKO'd McAfee and didn't look for Cody. And Cody was right behind him, and it didn't make sense. It seemed like Randy was going from heel to face during the whole match until he punted him, and it was like I felt like it was going back and forth. So that was kind of surprising to me. And my least favorite moment, I think all of night one. Well, not all of night one. I think the main event, and it just seemed slow and deliberate. That's why I'm glad that they had the Punk Reigns match with no interference, because that first, it just seemed like it dragged for most of the match, and it just seemed awkward. So I think that was my least favorite. And also, I do have one more surprise. I also think Jade had the best match she's had in WWE by far. Her and Rhea shocked me because that match was good, and I love the ending on how Rhea, even though I lost my prediction there, I loved the way that ended. How Rhea went underneath the Jade and took her up into her move and just closed it out. I thought that was a very smart ending to that match. And I think I'm done. I've
Yeah.
gone too long.
Yeah, dude, no worries. Thank you so much, Dave. You've given us a lot to chew on there, and so I'm gonna throw it over. We got Dwayne in the chat, so we've got officially the 4 horsemen of Florida No DQ are present and accounted for. Shout out to Dwayne, and we're gonna throw it over to Oofman now. Oofman's got his picture changed. Respect. Let's see if he can give us some quick thoughts on his biggest surprise, most exciting thing, and most disappointing moment from the weekend.
So first off, Dave, curse that handsome devil that made you change your picks for Sunday. Curse him. Anyway, it was me. All right.
It was.
As far as the positives, I'm really, again, shameful plug. I gave my own rant on my thoughts on WrestleMania this weekend, episode 18 on episode 19, excuse me, on Gavin with Oof on my channel. Cheap plug, I know, cheap pop. As far as good things, I am happy for my girl Liv, my Jersey girl Liv. Happy she won. And I was just, I think Matthew said it, and I'm going to add to it. It was a tale of 2 nights. And like I said in my video, I am blown away still how this same company gave us night 1, gave us night 2. I still cannot believe it, because it wasn't even like, people have been using the phrase night and day. It was like a completely different company booking night 1 who booked night 2. And when night 1 was over, I just sat there scratching my head going like, okay. And again, that was my fear going in, that I was not going to be interested, or when I did the predictions of night 2 with no DQ, I said my excitement level was at a 5, and I left Mania night 1 with a level 4, like just again, yay Liv, don't get me wrong, I was happy for her. But then came night 2, and that Oba and Lesnar match, yeah, you could be like, well, it was less than 5 minutes. Yeah, but it was the best less than 5 minutes match I've seen in a long time. I was very happy for Oba. The ladder match was insane. I'm shocked that they did what they did being on ESPN. I mean, we knew it was going to be the car crash. I doubt there was going to be blood. I highly doubted that. And sure enough, there was none. So there's that. And then the main event was, I'm not going to call it the perfect main event, but it was a very good main event, 50 miles better than night 1. Is it on my top 10 main events of all time? Probably not. But if you enjoyed it, great, because I enjoyed it. And I thought night 2 was spectacular. As far as the shocking things, again, just like you guys, I wasn't really shocked. I was happy for Bianca, and congratulations to her and her growing family. It's going to be another year without Bianca, so we'll see when she comes back. And the disappointing thing, I'm agreeing with Matthew. The biggest disappointment that I can think of the weekend was the interaction of the fans. Like, what in the world happened? Like, me and Gino and I, again, cheap plug, we spoke a couple episodes ago on Gavin with Oof about fan interaction and where do we draw the line. We spoke about the big event incident with AJ Lee, where the guy, he took a photo with AJ, then he went home using AI, created a video of them kissing. AJ politely on X said, please take this down. All of us on X went after this guy. It's like, dude, take this down. I don't know if he has. I don't care. I don't want to give him attention anymore, so I have no idea what he did. And now we hear, like Matthew said, he laid all the stories out there. The biggest one is the quote-unquote CM Punk incident that TMZ got their hands on. This fan is, I think he's looking for his 15 minutes. He says that he wants an apology and a handshake from Punk. I bet you if Punk agrees, this guy's going to be like, okay, it's going to be at this location at this time. And when Punk arrives, there's going to be like 80 million of this guy's so-called friends ready to take photos of Punk. And if Punk beats them up, I'm actually not going to be quite surprised. I'll actually support CM Punk on this. Like you guys said, the story goes, AJ Lee and Bailey were having a private moment. This guy starts recording. Even Bailey herself pushed the guy back saying, dude, leave us alone. So when the second the talent says, please leave me alone, like one of you guys, I think it was Matthew that said it, yes, please respect the count. They're asking you nicely. Well, she said, dude, get away, or she said something like that, but she said, leave them alone. And the guy didn't, kept recording, and Punk, I don't blame him. Like you said, Gino, he's defending his lady, he's defending his friend, he's defending coworkers. That's what they are. And I think he did the right thing. If they're like, this guy should sue, but he just wants a handshake. He just wants a moment with Punk. I hate to say the phrase, but he'll mark out. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for a moment with Punk, and then he's probably gonna, like what I see at conventions. He's probably gonna bring a wagon full of CM Punk merchandise for him to sign, just to throw it on eBay or whatever. But he wants to be known as the guy that got CM Punk to apologize. I think it's disgusting. I think it's horrible. Like you guys as well. When I meet wrestlers, especially the female ones, I say hello, and then when it's time for the photo, I ask, "Can I take a photo with you? Can I put my arm around you?" Or whatever. We pose, we take the photo. Another quick, long story short, I used to work security at Newark Airport. I saw the wrestlers all the time. They would come up to me, boarding pass and ID, and I would just be like, "Hey, insert wrestler name, nice to meet you, handshake, done." Yes, the 12-year-old in me marked out and was like, "Oh my gosh, it's insert wrestler name," and I freaked out, but they want to be left alone. They're traveling in the airport, they're in the hotel. Leave them alone. Yes, you paid cajillions of dollars to go to WrestleMania. That's on you. You, like Dave said, you're not owed anything. Just because you happen to be staying at the same hotel as the wrestlers, they don't know you diddly squat. So leave them alone. Yeah, you can wave at them, but if you ask for a photo and they say no politely, or just say no, no means no. I mean, I hate to use that old line, but it's the truth. Leave them alone. So that, obviously, an okay WrestleMania from beginning to end, from night 1 to night 2. But really, the thing that I'm going to still keep talking about and gabbing about probably is, unfortunately, the fans' interactions with the wrestlers and the talent, which gives a black eye to all of us who respect the wrestlers, all of us who know the difference, that it's a work, it's real or it's not. All of us who treat wrestlers with respect, it gives a black eye, not just to Cody Rhodes, but to all of us in one small swoop. We all look bad, and everybody now on ESPN is mocking all wrestling fans. Like, see, they're animals, they're this. TMZ, I saw the video that they posted. All the comments are, see, wrestling fans are animals. So, unfortunately, that is what is in my mind coming out of this weekend. Hopefully, for you guys at Backlash, it gets better from here.
All right. Thank you so much, Oofman. Dave, I saw your hand. Did you have something you wanted to add before I go?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because I didn't say too much, because they both Matthew and Oofman said it perfectly. I haven't met as many wrestlers in my time as I've met sports people. I've met some actors, and I mean, it's the same respect. You gotta respect them. I mean, I met years ago, and I was telling Gino about this the other day. I met Ron Simmons. It was in a local sports station in Tampa after I first moved here, back in the days before, where you couldn't go into before 9/11, where they didn't let you in places. They knew me. They let me in the sound stage when they had Ron Simmons there when he was WCW champion. And they had an announcer that Gino never heard of because he's too young. They had Gordon Soley. And went up, I didn't want autographs. I don't even care about autographs. I'm not in it for money. And back then I didn't have obviously a phone either. So I just wanted to shake their hands and tell them I was big fan of theirs. And Ron Simmons was one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He didn't say damn to me because he hadn't done that phrase yet. It was back in his younger days, but as nice a guy as can be, as was Gordon Soley. And I got to meet also at a minor league wrestling. I took Alex, my son, to in Hillsborough. Was at a gym, and Davey Boy Smith Jr. was there, but the people that were presenting it was the Nasty Boys, and I got to meet them. And they weren't as nice as can be, and it was fun. You just wanted to be fans and say hi, and that's it. It's like you said, Uthman, some of these people make us all look bad. Make us all look bad. When they do some crap like that and try to take advantage. And it is their fault. They spend the money. They don't. That doesn't mean they get carte blanche over everything. These people, in the end, are humans, and they got to treat them like humans, and that's how it should be.
So, I appreciate where all you guys are coming from. As far as a solution to this, you don't hear about this type of stuff happening to basketball teams, football teams, hockey teams, whatever, right? I know wrestling has historically been you take care of yourself, you drive yourself, you fly yourself, you put yourself up, whatever. WWE makes far too much money, and by all accounts, this was the most financially lucrative, profit-gaining WrestleMania of all time. So if we hope that they start doing something differently with celebrity involvement and stuff like that, and YouTubers and stuff, shout out to YouTube, holla, they're probably not going to change that. Now, what they can change and what they should have taken seriously after Gunther tapped out Cena is they should probably have if some type of private situation at airports. They should have probably some type of private situation at these hotels. Football teams, basketball teams, hockey teams, soccer teams, whatever, they stay at a nearby hotel to the arena. Like when they come to Tampa, Tampa's big, but they're probably only staying in one of 3 different hotels, right? So if you really want to, you can get yourself in there, wait, camp out, whatever. But when these guys and gals are flying through these airports and stuff, why are they having to do general public things? That's what I'm confused about. Where is the chartered WWE plane that's taking people to and from? Now, I get it. If you're not going to go with the rest of the crew to the next town or whatever, and you're going home, that makes it more difficult. So maybe that's the reason. But at Randy to get accosted at a hotel, which is, I mean, unless Randy's staying at a different hotel, like all of the talent should be put up in the same hotel. And there should be security. The hotel should pride itself on the fact that you're going to be safe here. Because if I go to a hotel and somebody recognizes me from No DQ or something, and they come up to me when I'm with my girl, I mean, I'm probably going to be like wicked happy to be recognized and feel like I'm famous for sure. But like, I don't want people who aren't staying at the hotel coming in and hounding me like that. Like, listen, that's probably never going to be my life. But Randy shouldn't be by himself unless he wants to be walking through these places. He doesn't need necessarily a security guard, but you can't just he looked like he was walking through a casino grounds or whatever. And I'm going to be in Vegas this weekend and week to live a life, but I'm going to be checking out like the atmosphere around certain hotels. I mean, I'm going to go check out the famous stuff, the famous hotels or whatever, but like there needs to be some type of, and I don't mean like bodyguards, because Randy Orton was leaps and bounds taller and tougher than everybody there. And maybe CM Punk didn't need to hit the guy's phone out of his hand. Maybe he takes it or something like that and tells him to stop. But obviously he's frustrated. He just lost his championship. He's got his girlfriend and somebody that's like a daughter, or his wife, and somebody that's like a daughter to him and Bailey there. Like CM Punk, again, as I said on the review, he's not getting fired. He could have punched that guy square in the nose. He's rich enough to afford to do that. So y'all should be, afraid, right? Like it's one thing to pay for a ticket and go to a show and shout things at people. That's part of the fun. But like they don't owe you anything. As Drew said in his tweet, to those of you who spent their hard-earned money to come for a photo or an autograph or whatever, I really appreciate you. You're awesome. To those of you who hound me and my family in public areas, go F yourself. Now, I don't know if this is still the case, but every Wednesday morning, John Cena at least used to, every Wednesday morning, every single time, used to eat at this one place, this one breakfast joint in Tampa. And even the servers know, and the people that are going there know, like people know it. It wasn't like a secret because it's pretty common that he would be there every Wednesday, and people aren't hounding him. There's that one video of Cena being hounded by the guy, and he's like, listen, man, like I try to tell you, and he's very professional about it. And he even acknowledged that maybe he even didn't like how he handled that, but he handled it super professionally. He's like, listen, I'm just trying to do my thing. I've told you, like, no, you didn't ask. You're just shoving a camera in my face, whatever. Like, it's I do get how some people can be so out of touch that they think, well, they're celebrities. I have a right to film them. I have a right to do this and that. And, you know, if you film some random hot chick on the side of the street, like, is that allowed? Is that not allowed? But like now all of a sudden it's okay because they're celebrities. Like there's still people, and if they vocalize and tell you this is not okay, I would like you to get away, you got to get away. But again, a person can be smart. People on the whole are stupid. So this person and the people yeeting and the people trying to touch the wrestlers as they go by and stuff, they're all trying to get, you know, their little slice of claim to fame. And that's human nature, but it's also human nature to understand, like, and have some social cues and social decorum. Everything is online now, especially ever since the pandemic. Like people have forgotten how to exist in a society and their civilization and things. But at the end of the day, if there was a hotel that they could go to that they didn't just let general public walk into, or back entrances or whatever, like there needs to be something like that. Now, if CM Punk, Bayley, and AJ Lee are getting on a Southwest flight to Chicago from Vegas, they're kind of accepting the understanding that like people might recognize you and they might want to take pictures, photographs, whatever. Now, this guy didn't even release his own video from what I saw. It was a bystander who was recording this all, who sent it to TMZ and whatever. So like, you know, in the 80s, nobody's filming everything like that, you know, and all this stuff. Like they'd be lucky to get out in one piece. But we've talked long enough, I feel like, about this, even though it was a very important thing to talk about. I do want to switch gears here again, and I want to talk to you guys about the Raw after Mania. WrestleMania is now in the books. The fallout from WrestleMania is upon us. We've had call-ups. We're getting more call-ups. We have new champions. And I just want one thing that you are most looking forward to. Oh, Oofman, if you raised your hand, I apologize. I think I'm just seeing that. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, just to add to what you were saying, you said what could be the solution to all this? I think it's just common sense. That's what it is. Like, I get it. They're the wrestlers, they're the celebrities and all that, but just common sense says, not in the arena, not in a con. Let them be. I mean, you want to wave, sure, go for it, but just be cordial and most of all, be an adult. And like you said, I believe we unfortunately live in a society of entitlement. Like, oh, there's a wrestler, I'm entitled to walk up to you and say hi to you, and if you dare say no to me, I am still entitled to your presence in mine. I feel like, and you said it best, Gino, after the pandemic, definitely, like we were in our houses for a year and a half, close to 2, and when we were quote unquote let loose, people forgot how to act like humans, and it's probably gone from bad to worse. And so I think the solution is just common sense. And and the best example is this guy. Yeah, an innocent bystander recorded it, but then we saw his camera footage, and the second, like we said, the second Bayley said, "Leave us alone or go away," right there, just go away. But no, it escalated. And again, I think we all agree that Punk did what he had to do, and none of us are against Punk. I think we all agree for him. But I think it's just common sense, Gino, that just use common sense. You see a celebrity, I get it. You go gaga. I mean, again, when I go to cons and I see Brett, the 12-year-old in me explodes. But again, I walk up to him. I talk to him like a human, not a robot. Yeah, I am freaking out on the inside. But again, he's pushing 68. He's 68 years old now. He's not the Bret Hart of 97 or anything like that. It's like, it's still Bret. I'm still going to treat him like a human, no matter who you are. And to share another personal story like Matthew did, this gym I used to go to in East Rutherford, I was there doing my thing. Who walks literally right in front of me? Bubba Ray Dudley. I was like, holy hell, it's Bubba Ray. So I'm doing my thing, he's doing my thing, and then we finally made eye contact. We did that guy nod, like acknowledging, like I nodded like hi, he nodded back, and that's it. Left him alone. There was a little kid who came with his dad out of nowhere that ran up to him. Understandable, 8-year-old, cool. But imagine me, I was like, I think like 30 by then. Imagine me, a 30-year-old running and tackling Bubba at a gym. No. So I think it's common sense, to get everything or straightened out.
Absolutely. And, that reminds me, two more situations. Again, living in Tampa has its benefits because there are a lot of wrestlers who live in Tampa. One time I was at the gym and I saw a jacked, maybe not the tallest guy in the world, but absolute unit of a man working out at the closest gym next to where NXT, formerly FCW, was. And he was wearing a WrestleMania shirt. I believe it was the New York, New Jersey WrestleMania logo. Matthew, I'll get to you in a moment. So I went up to him. Oh, like WrestleMania, like, do you watch wrestling? Blah, 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 blah. And he told me who he was. And embarrassingly, I did not know his name. I do now. And I remember exactly what he told me when I asked him for advice to become a wrestler. And he said, never stop working out. It's probably because I'm shy of 200 pounds and I need to keep putting on size. But his name was Rusev. So he was essentially a nobody. He wasn't. I was like, and once I realized he was a wrestler, I was like, oh, are you like performing? He's like, no, but like I'll go and whatever. And we had a little bit of a talk, but like then it was like, did I stay around him his whole workout and start implementing my stuff into his? No, you go your separate ways, whatever. And one last thing, Guardians of the Galaxy, the premiere on the Thursday night, Dave Bautista, everybody knew he was there because he's got a very recognizable customized vehicle, and it was parked not even in a parking spot, like literally along the building right out front. And he was walking out of the IMAX screening that I was waiting in line to get into because A, this is back before you had to wait, before you knew where you were sitting when you went to the theater, and B, there were people like surrounding him. My buddy was like, go say hi. I'll save our spot in line, blah, blah, blah. And, I was a little nervous to go say hi. He was already around a bunch of people. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to save this memory and whatever. But when you're good and you put good karma out into the universe, I actually when he was on a radio show in Tampa, I called in and I was one of the lucky few that was actually able to have a conversation with him on air, live on the radio. And that is what happens if you do the right thing. Things come around for you, and there's a way to go about it. But you mentioned common sense, and the thing is common sense requires people to have sense, and that's definitely lost upon us. We almost need a countrywide or a worldwide re-education on some things that are supposed to be common sense. And the last thing I'll say before, I think we lost Matthew, but I know he wanted to say something. Oh, there he is. So there's no bigger tell of the way of people lost their common sense and social decorum than being at a movie theater in 2025, 2026, because people think that they're on their couch, pulling out their phones, having loud conversations. Bro, it makes me irked to no end. One point, the first time I went back to the theater to see a movie was Fast 9. And this guy comes in with this wicked loud grocery bag and he's messing with all the stuff and it's super loud. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I took the butter, the little butter cup that I had for my melted butter, and I threw it and it landed right next to him. And I don't think he realized what was going on. It was an older gentleman with a cane, but that doesn't matter. This isn't your living room. He showed up late, mind you, after the movie had already started. And there's nothing worse than somebody showing up late and then being disruptive. But I'm getting off task. This sounds like something for me to gab about with Uthman. But Matthew, you wanted to add to that?
I mean, if I can give one more personal story.
Yeah.
Well, for several years, I lived in a crappy little town called Palatka, Florida, which had one claim to fame, Michelle McCool. And, her rise to becoming the part of the Diva search made her a big impact in the town. And two of my best friends used to be her next door neighbors. And once she started to make it into the business, we started to see a certain 7 foot tall or so dead man. And a lot of times people were very afraid to come up to him. But every once in a while, if you noticed him and you kind of just nodded or, tried not to really interact with him, but, keep it kind of hush hush, he would kind of, nod back or give you a thumbs up. And that was, again, just a sign of respect. One, because it's the freaking Undertaker and he's in this crappy little town, but it was just a very cool sight to see him, at the Walmart, at the Publix. And, again, it was all because, him and Michelle started dating around the time, but it was just very cool to see this ominous figure being a normal person and then people treating him like a normal person.
And there was probably no less normal of a human being in all of professional wrestling than the Undertaker. And a shout out to Vinny here. I saw and interacted with Vinny on the review, and he was giving take after take that I gravitated towards, and I really was like, this man gets it. Not a lot of people get it, but this guy gets it, and he is commenting for the first time on this channel. So thank you very much, Vinny. Very, very appreciative that you've decided to join us and subscribe to the channel. It means the world. And you're the absolute man. Thank you so much for being here. This is our first time live, and it looks like people are enjoying the live, guys. So a shout out to Oofman again for making this all possible. We got C-Rod there, Kevin as well. Let's be honest. What is normal? I mean, as a mental health counselor, I hate the word normal just because it implies that there's something that is standard across the board, but there really is no true definition of normal. But being respectful and being a decent human being is absolutely, it should be something that's required, but, obviously it's still America and you have the freedom to do whatever you want. You're not free from consequences, but that there should be some level of civility, right? We're not animals, we're human beings. And Vinny's saying it best. They make it look bad for us as fans, and they do. Just like,
and it doesn't cost us anything to be nice either. Doesn't cost anything to be a civil person.
It doesn't, but you might miss out on your autograph, and you might have to pay $50 to $100 to get it another time. You know what? Too bad, right? Like they don't owe you anything, but somebody who is owed something is me with this triple threat recommendation from C-Rod: Gino versus Rusev versus Batista. Make it happen. I think we all know who's taking the fall in that match. Sorry, Rusev. But we will have you we have to make me look as strong as possible. I won't be going over, but this will be my opportunity.
No, you got to put Austin Theory. You got to put Austin Theory in there to take the fall.
Yes, Austin Theory's there to take the fall, 100%. I actually like Austin Theory, so
I do too. I really think they messed up with him. I really think it could have been something special with him. It's just he's been booked so weird.
And they could still turn him uber babyface, because remember, Logan Paul had that situation where he could have helped Punk, and people were like cheering him on, and he could have been a massive babyface after that. And a year ago, nobody would ever think that's possible. So maybe Austin Theory starts to have this crisis of conscience, and he's like, oh, I'm tired of being looked down upon by my teammates, and then he turns on them, like, and then or they turn on him and make him a sympathetic babyface. That could absolutely happen. And yes, there is a reason why they have photo ops and autograph signing, and that's your moment. Like Oofman said, even when he goes to cons and pays to see these people and pays to interact with them, he still shows them respect and class, right? Like, and numerous wrestlers have talked about, like, if you're just there with 50 of the same piece of paper that you want to get them to sign, like, they know that doesn't mean anything to you, that you're just trying to make a buck off their name.
Right.
I think Kevin Owens said that. And that is, that's true. As somebody who has caught John Cena's hat, as somebody who has numerous autographs from wrestlers, whether you show up early, stay late, I do regret not paying the $45 to get Joe Hendry's autograph at the TNA taping last year, but it is what it is. I was financially strapped. I was lucky to be able to go, but you still have to be respectful. Like, there was nobody in line. He was sitting there on his phone. I could have walked right up to the table and interacted with him, but I was like, no, I'm not paying. It's not fair. My buddy, who doesn't really care about wrestling, but I brought him there to be a wrestling fan, he was like, oh, we're going to the casino after this. Pick a number. And he picked a number, and it ended up hitting. So I reached out to him on Instagram. I was like, oh, your number hit. But, like, you don't overstay your welcome. You do what you can, but you do try to get your money and what you're paying for. Vinny, Roman versus Punk cooked. So happy that Roman won. They told a great story from the entrances to the 1, 2, 3. Absolutely. And to anybody who's saying you don't need celebrity interjections into the matches, this is proof right here. There was no interference. You let the wrestlers tell the story, but they didn't care. They care, though, because especially on night one, they're trying to get people to tune in. They were trying to get people to tune in, and that's their only thing. That's all they cared about was the people who don't watch wrestling but will tune in to see what happens with Pat McAfee, the people who don't watch wrestling but will tune in to watch Joe Jonas doing the national anthem. Shout out to Courtney. The people that will tune in to see maybe even Lil Yachty, right? Think about a whole tens of thousands of young men that see Javon Evans and Trick Williams and being in this culture like that. Like, this is important. So they do want to get new fans and stuff like that. And yes, I couldn't agree more. The only thing I would have done differently, not have the stare spot. Don't think it was needed. Logan Paul and Gunther are one and the same. Hated heels on TV, but super nice guys during interview. Bro, if you guys aren't watching the Impulsive podcast Logan Paul does, like, he is so good. Like, they even were like, 2026 is the year that we hate I Show Speed. And then he was talking about, like, with this guest, and he was like, yeah, he put me through a table. And they're like, oh yeah, no, maybe it is I hate I Show Speed. And it's like, then I punched him. And he's like, well, what came first? You punched him or he put you to the table? He's like, well, I guess I punched him first. And then he's like, well, maybe you're on the wrong. And Logan's like, yeah, maybe I am on the wrong. Like, dude, Logan Paul's a fun guy. Say what you want about the mistakes he's made. We've all made mistakes. He who was without sin cast the first stone. Like, we all make mistakes. But the point is to grow and live from them. Roman Reigns doesn't really do fantastic photo ops or Fanatics photo ops anymore. I can see why. But he did at the Vegas thing for $800 for a photo op with Roman Reigns. Like, that's not worth it to me. Top 10 WrestleMania main event of all time, in my opinion, after thinking about it. Yeah, man. Like, I'm sure debates can be had, but the best thing about wrestling and entertainment in general is that it's all subjective. Like, what hit you and what you're going through in life and what you needed and what you wanted to see could be different from somebody else. I would need to probably sit and look at every main event and really digest, maybe even watch them all again to really hammer out a top 10. But we will be doing top 10s and Mount Rushmores moving forward with our great group of guys that we have on here. And I look forward to hearing everybody's opinions on that. I've done some Mount Rushmore stuff. We got a lot of stuff in the works, especially now that I know that we can get this thing live. And shout out again to Vinny for being here and subscribing. Like, whether we agree or disagree, him and I have been agreeing about a lot of stuff. It's really nice to have fans of professional wrestling be in here. Drew is the same. That's why he's one of the best heels. Yeah. I mean, these guys, some of the best heels are some of the nicest people off screen. And and that's why, and some of the toughest people are some of the nicest people. Most I've ever spent for a photo op is $100 for Stan Lee and David Tennant. For those who don't know, Stan Lee is the godfather of Marvel. He basically created all the stuff that we love, along with Jack Kirby. Shout out to Jack Kirby. He does not get enough love. And David Tennant, Doctor Who, the Purple Man from Jessica Jones, a real good guy as well. And that's the thing. Like, if you go to these cons, you're paying to go to the cons. I got to talk to Power Rangers for just the price of admission. I got to talk to Power Rangers. They were like, oh, it's $50 for, and I didn't mention that on our video, Oof and Gavin with Oof. But the thing is that you can still have your opportunity to talk to some people. I'll never forget. I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but the actor who played Joffrey was at Tampa Comic-Con one year, and not a single person was in his line. Not a single person, because he was the most hated TV character potentially of all time, but certainly during that moment. And I almost went up and got his autograph just because I was like, well, there's nobody in line. I get the cut. You don't have to pay and wait. But yeah, Vinny said it best. Like, imagine a fan doing that to Brock Lesnar instead of Punk, right? I mean, I think Brock Lesnar had travels in different ways and stuff like that, so I don't think that people would have the opportunity to. But there's a reason why a lot of these guys and gals don't live in like the city; they live in the sticks. Like, people, they don't want to be bothered. Like, they created their art, they created their performances, they gave us things to look back on and be happy about, and we should be grateful for even looking our direction in public. And again, there's a way to do it. If you go up to them, hey, sorry about the loss, Punk. AJ, sorry about the loss. Bailey, sorry about the loss, guys. Huge fans. I hope you guys bounce back. I know you can. I believe in you. Guarantee that interaction would have gone differently. Period. Maybe he puts his phone down when they asked him to, and maybe go different. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a way to go about things. And these people that only leave their house, or, you know, as Big G would say, their mother's basements, just to show up to these events, or even worse, just to be camping out at the airports waiting for them. Like, they're not going to take no for an answer, which speaks to a larger issue of how do we keep people safe and celebrities safe at airports when they're traveling in with I hear it's that word, normal people, with non-famous people. So yeah, no, I think Brock Lesnar wouldn't care. Again, CM Punk doesn't care because they're rich and they control their own narrative. And like, it's just, this doesn't happen with other sports teams and things like that. And I get it. They're all going their separate ways after the events, but there's got to be something that can at least be done at the hotels. At least that Randy Orton situation could have been done differently. Matthew talking about MegaCon, met Cal Dobb, the voice of Wolverine from X-Men 92, 97. Got to talk to him for 30 minutes, take pictures, amazing person. Now I'm wondering if he's the gentleman who did the voice of Wolverine in the X-Men 97 cartoon reboot type of thing. Maybe that's what you mentioned 97 for. But yeah, you know, like, it's just about showing respect and class, and these people will all be honored to be around you. And I have another story, but I was way too young. I just remember dining at a certain restaurant in Boston. It's actually like where all the wrestlers go after the Boston shows. And I was maybe 7, 8 years old. And you could just see Chris Jericho chatting it up with Eddie Guerrero and chatting it up with all these guys, like just sitting at a table, having a good time. Like, you don't have to be a jerk. Have we talked about the lack of video packages and ads ruining the quality of Mania? So here's the thing about that. The video packages not being there absolutely take away from the match. When I go back and watch WrestleMania 17, which obviously we know, objectively speaking, one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, like, the video packages enhance the product. Now, they're not for everybody. Like, some people don't want to watch them. I watch every week. I don't need the video package that they cut together. But as somebody who loves TV, when you have previously on, right, it enhances your enjoyment of the episode. You might not remember a certain character that appears three-fourths of the way through the episode, but you would if you saw the previously on. Oh yeah, that's right. They had an interaction with this person. So those things, and the ads, if you're talking about the commercial breaks and stuff, I totally get it. Like, it's getting to be ridiculous. But at the same time, when I watch every PLE with a bunch of people. So to me, sometimes I got to go to the bathroom, get another drink, grab some food. That gives me the opportunity to do that. I would like a healthy balance, though, of the commercial, then the video package, because there is that. It's understandable, though. Just have WrestleMania. Like, I'm trying to be impartial here, not disagreeing with you, Vinny, but they do have to do these elaborate entrances, and they got to get it all set up, and they can't just have a shot of the arena or, you know, whatever. So they at least don't waste that time live in person. And at some cases, they have people actually enter, like with the ladder match. but they do have to set up the chairs and the dancers or the musicians or the band instruments. So there at least is some production purpose with that. But yeah, Kevin, you're right. Like, remove the Mania. It's now WrestleMania commercial. So Wrestle commercial. But that's the thing. TKO it's working. They don't even need people to tune in necessarily or buy tickets if people are watching live on the air, because they've got the cost of the things and every ad that's seen. 100,000 people watch it. Guess what? They get paid even more money, which is why thank you, Dwayne. Going to check out the Hogan documentary. Yeah, we'll have to check that out too. But that's why all these streaming services now, and I know this has kind of turned into a TV thing, but obviously I love TVs and movies. These streaming services are increasing the rate of their non-commercial tier and basically making their commercial tier like almost free, because that's actually for the better. Because if you like a show and you don't pay for commercials, guess what? They don't need a reason to make that second season or the third season. That's why Netflix cancels stuff, even popular stuff, because it's not bringing in new subscribers. They have to find a way to make money, because at the end of the day, everything is a business. So if you get the commercial tier, every time you press play on an episode of Stranger Things, that gives the producers more money. And then they're like, okay, well, we'll make another season because it will give us more money. There were just times where it felt like I was watching Raw instead of Mania. I missed the viewing experience of the pay-per-view from 10 to 20 years ago. Absolutely. I don't think anybody would disagree with that whatsoever at all. But TKO is making money. Again, the most lucrative WrestleMania of all time. They're making money. So unless people stop tuning in, they're really not going to find a reason to change. And if they're smart, which, let's be honest, they're not, they'll turn this into a storyline where it's like Triple H versus TKO or Team WWE versus Team TKO, something along those lines. I don't know how that would look. Survivor Series is a long way away, but I would love to see them play into that and almost have like an off-screen authority figure, an off-screen Mr. McMahon, right, that we have the opportunity to throw hate to, because everybody wants to hate on Triple H, calling him names and doing all this stuff. Triple H is responsible for Noah's Black and Gold NXT, so he knows what he's doing. He didn't take Vince's CEO, chairman of the board job. He is the chief content officer. So the people who don't understand, and I'm not saying Vinny doesn't understand. Vinny is obviously very with it, a high-level thinker. But there's people online that are saying that Triple H is this, Triple H is doing that. Like, dude, he's got people to answer to. Vince didn't have to answer to anybody, which is why he's getting in a lot of hot water, because he was using his power for unsavory means. People need to blame Nick Khan and Ari. Absolutely. But even Nick Khan is in the crowd trying to engage the audience's reactions. It's definitely more on Ari, TKO. And honestly, I would throw all the blame on The Rock. He's part of the board, and he doesn't even want to be bothered to show up. Mm-hmm. Oh, he had to go back for his daughter's birthday. Why can't his daughter's birthday be in freaking Las Vegas? So, miss me with all those excuses. If you buy something, you can do whatever you want, just like TKO is doing right now. Exactly. And that's what I said on the review last night. Like, they didn't buy this billion-dollar money-making machine to not continue to increase its profits and revenue. We speak with our views. We speak with our dollars. If we're not going online buying the merch, if we're not buying the tickets, if we're not watching the product, which I think we all are watching every week regardless, then they're going to not have a reason to stop. Was 42 better than last year's Mania? Punk and Roman might give it the edge to me. There were a lot of things to like and dislike about both Manias. I personally am a John Cena guy, so anytime you've got John Cena, it's great. But WWE obviously felt like they owed Vegas more, or they just wanted to make as much more money as possible. And but yeah, Roman and Punk was great. Oba versus Brock had that big Ali Frazier type of fight feel, and that's what I like about WrestleMania. I just hate this West Coast stuff. I don't hate the West Coast, but if you're going to do it on the West Coast, I will stay up a little later. I'll watch a start time at 9 or 8 local time, not 6, because then it's 3:00 in the afternoon over there, and it's not dark when they're even doing the post show. And I think it being nighttime adds to it. There's a reason why they call it prime time. So when they go overseas, we will finally get that. And I think London is on the horizon. Also, what about the fan to pay and sit at the commentary table? Also, having patches on the wrestler's attire kind of annoyed me for sure. Like, but also nobody's talking about Logan Paul wore a gigantic Prize Picks necklace or whatever the gambling site necklace is, and then he went to Pawn Stars to pawn it off, right? If you want to pay extra money to have your name on the ring, I would do it if I could. If you want to pay extra money to sit at commentary, I didn't see the guy when I was watching the show, but I saw that was posted online and stuff. Definitely kind of annoying, but they'll do whatever they can to make a little extra money. And if people are willing to pay, they're willing to pay. Nothing is overpriced if people are willing to pay for it. That's just basic economics. We think it's overpriced because we're not willing to pay those outrageous prices, and that's fair. We also saw a green shirt guy has cloned himself. Yeah, he definitely handed out shirts to all those people, or they were his friends and family, because I don't know how you have the proper size shirts for all those people, because they were definitely an assortment of sizes, and all those shirts seemed to fit properly. So I did pay attention to that, but that's great. Like, if you want to go to a show with 10,000 Cesaro section signs, be my guest. And you want to hand them out. If you want to hand out signs that say Logan Paul is an outsider, all that stuff, be my guest. But at the end of the day, if people are willing to pay, like, if somebody wants to send me $40,000 for a super chat, am I going to say no? Absolutely not. So I do get where people are coming from as far as WWE and the business aspect, because whether it's movies, television, sports, entertainment, video games, wrestling, it is a business and they're there to make money. We just, as fans, feel you can make more money doing it the right way instead of taking cheap tricks to appease stockholders, because then you got to do something. You got to raise the bar every quarter, and that then starts to ruin that. How does that green shirt? So he goes to the box office and buys the tickets directly from the people, because he was interviewed the other day, and he from what he buys them on location. So that's from what I understand. He is super rich. He's like a real estate guy and all this stuff. There are people within the industry that have like his phone number and stuff like that. And honestly, at this point, if you see green shirt guy, you know you're probably in for a treat. Just because he doesn't show up to stuff that isn't a big deal. But he does. He's not the guy who got hit by CM Punk or whatever. He's just rich and is willing to pay. And it just feels odd because, like, it's really difficult to get the same seat every single time, but not for him. But again, he's paying. He's paying a premium, and he's getting what he's paying for, and people are interacting with him. So he's got no reason to stop, and they could probably keep charging him more and more money. So again, to not be super long-winded with this, obviously this is a hot button issue for everybody, rightfully so. But if somebody is willing to pay you for something, that is what it's worth. Once people stop tuning in and once people stop buying stuff, then it's worth 25% off. Then it's worth 31.6% off. That's how we speak to it. And if you're one of the people that bought a $40,000 ticket and were pissed off that the ticket prices were discounted later on, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. It is what it is. So I believe we got through all the, I was going to call them super chats, but they're not super chats. They're just regular chats. And I do try to read every single one of them. Thank you guys so much. WrestleMania season is done. I was going to bring up a different topic, but we are starting to run out of time. So we will address that next week. We'll see how the call-ups and who might be future endeavored, because with the call-ups and post-WrestleMania season, sometimes we get people let go. So we'll see what happens. We got another one here from Vinny. As an Ohio guy, can't wait for Mania to go to Lucas Oil so I could hopefully go to my first Mania, but I'm definitely going to be smart on how I get tickets. Now, Lucas Oil, I believe, is in Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
And they had 3 events. What was it? Pat McAfee got them 3 events in a row or something like that. But that was when ticket prices were still continuing to go through the absolute roof. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not traveling to another state for WrestleMania. It's not happening. If you get me a Tampa, an Orlando, a Miami, a Jacksonville, maybe I will explore ticket prices and stuff. But it's tough living somewhere where there isn't a lot of potential celebrity involvement and stuff. Like living in Tampa, it's a hotbed for famous people to do famous things. So we have the opportunity to do that. So we will be back next Wednesday live in living color to continue to give you guys our thoughts on wrestling, the thing that we love. And shout out to Noah because we all love professional wrestling. Damn it. I would never try to imitate that, but I do love to pay homage. And if Disney's watching, that's how you pay homage to something without imitating it. Star Wars. So we're going to throw it around now for any final thoughts on where people can find you. Oofman, any final thoughts on where can the people find you?
Well, the final thoughts is I think you spoke perfectly, Gino, about that. It's going to come down to the fans. There really has to be a revolution. People think there's this logic out there that I think is stupid, that when people want to revolt, so they buy, let's say, an artist says something you don't like, so you go to the store, you buy their albums, and then you burn them. It's like, I know I was seeing online people when this was back when the Royal Rumble was in Philly, that Daniel Bryan wasn't part of and Roman won it. They were taking all their merchandise and they're burning it. It's like, you spent the money. They got your money already. That's not how you quote unquote fight the system. Or buying tickets to go to a show and hijacking the show. That's not how you do it. You avoid doing that. You stop buying the merch, stop going, stop watching. You hurt them. You hit that. Let me say it again. You hurt them where it hurts most, and that is the wallet. When the numbers go down, there you go. Exactly. When the numbers start to go down, the tickets are not selling, the merch isn't selling, that is when they will change. But if, again, you go in to a show and you bring a poster that's like, F this wrestler or Triple H suck, they're laughing at you already because they already won. The second you bought that ticket on Ticketmaster or the box office, they won. You can go to the event and scream all you want. That's what made me laugh. I think it was the SummerSlam post show last year. They were chanting Vince McMahon or they were chanting this. It's like, and Triple H laughed because it's like, he won already. The second you're there and you bought the ticket, they have won. They got your money and they have won. So it's going to take a big dramatic thing for the fans to revolt against the system if they want a big change. Again, going to the arena and screaming your neck off until you're sore in the throat, it's not going to do it. But hopefully one day they will learn. And unfortunately, I think your friend there commented about watching the old Raws and old WrestleManias. Again, cheap plug to my video about the wrap-up of WrestleMania. The Manias of all our childhood, all four of us and everybody in the chat, they're gone. Those days are gone. No more backstage segments, no more cool it's all commercial Mania now. It's about the buck. And it's sad. It's not going to be the Manias that we grew up on, where it was a match, backstage segment, hype video, interview. It's done. It's just match and 4 or 5 minute blocks of commercials this weekend. And welcome to the welcome to the TKO era. I hate to use that phrase, new era, but this is the era we're living in now. It's all about TKO now, and it's about making the bucks. But again, it was an honor to be on, Gino. Thank you so much for letting me be on via, let's call it non-video, I guess. As far as the plug, yeah, that handsome devil Gino and I, we talked Power Rangers. Again, for anybody who has watched, thank you so much for watching. I call it the Power Ranger trilogy. They did great numbers on my channel. I do appreciate it. I had Mr. Dave Scheffler on as well. Speaking of WrestleMania, we spoke about WrestleMania X7 25 years ago this year, which, again, just reminds me we're all getting old. But we spoke about the death of WCW, which led to WrestleMania X7. As far as my channel goes, I'd like to say that this Sunday night on my channel, I will be live. And this weekend, I will be going to go watch the Michael movie. And this Sunday night, I will give my official review of it. That's right. Going to watch The King of Pop. I'm going Thursday night, and then I'm going Saturday night again. And then Sunday night, a nice full review. I would say no spoilers, but I mean, if you know Michael, I mean, I think everybody in the world knows Michael, so I can't really say no spoilers. I'll talk the movie, but I feel like there are no spoilers because everybody knows his story. I'll do what we did tonight. I'll talk what I liked about it, what I didn't, and will there be a part 2? We'll see. But yeah, this Sunday night, 8 o'clock on my Oof Entertainment channel, Gamma with Oof, episode 20 will be live on YouTube, talking the Michael movie. And just like I did for my top 10 Michael list, I might put the jacket back on and glove. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, thank you, gentlemen, so much. It was awesome, like always.
Thank you so much, Oofman. And yeah, you guys can find the link to his channel and everybody that's a panelist here in the description of this video. I'm going to throw it now over to Matthew. Matthew, where can the people find you? And if you had any last thought?
I mean, you can find me on Facebook, always glad to be part of this, got to thank No DQ for, giving me the courage to send a video to Aaron to become part of one of the predictions. I believe it was Mania 38 was my first prediction. And since then, I've met Oofman, I've met Gino, I've met Dave, we have the 4 horsemen of the No DQ Florida chapter, check out all their content. Check out Noah, who was previously mentioned, and Simply Reliable Studios. They went and broke. They were beating out people like Denise. God, I can never say her last name. But they were beating out big name other WWE, other wrestling content with their watch along for Twitter, and that's big. And just kind of bouncing off some of the things Oofman said. Yeah, you can't really complain about the prices or make videos like certain wrestling sites do about complaining about the prices if you then go to the show. It's like that makes you part of the problem. It doesn't matter how much you spent on the tickets, whether you say you got them at a discounted price or not, but you can't then go and complain or like, people were going saying F TKO. Well, they got your money, no matter how you paid for it. They're laughing at you. So,
right.
yeah,
and not only that, though, Matthew, but they're going online and making everybody that they know and have connections to on social media aware of their frustrations. And that brings more eyes to the product. So it's literally counterintuitive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People are like, oh, well, Tony Khan needs to capitalize. And, he does. He just hasn't been able to. He had AEW signs all over Vegas, but did it do anything? Maybe, the big thing is next year, if they are doing Saudi Mania, Tony needs to grow a set of balls and do some sort of big show somewhere in the US and get all the shows to do it with him instead of, WrestleMania weekend where all the shows follow wherever WrestleMania is at.
Right.
And that may be a changing of the tide, but until then, and until people start speaking with their wallets, TKO is still going to do what they're going to do. And I mean, we can complain about it. Maybe, maybe they will take into consideration what happened this weekend. Now that we know, we saw the tale of 2 different manias. Maybe they'll be like, okay, maybe we do need to leave things in Triple H's hands. If they do that, we don't know. But, we saw the TKO Mania night 1 and the Triple H, Paul Heyman, whoever Mania night 2. And which one are people talking about? But,
well, technically, people are talking more about night 1 than night 2, but we definitely enjoyed night 2 more than night 1. So thank you so much, Matthew, for being a part of it. Dave, where can the people find you?
Oh, just as like Matthew said, find me on Facebook. I want to also thank you again, and I'll always thank No DQ and our buddy Aaron Rift for getting us all together. I've met you guys and meeting Gino for the first time the other night. We had a blast. I got to meet his friends and getting to meet Matthew in a few weeks, and hopefully more people down the road, including Dwayne, our Florida brother, who can't be with us at Backlash. I do want to also say, everybody, thank you for being in the chat. Now, what you could do along with giving Gino a like, share with your friends, And follow our buddy Oofman and Gabbing with Oof. He does great work. I enjoy and look forward to being on another wrestling show with him because I know we're going to do some 30th anniversary of Hulk Hogan and a NWO coming up, and I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, we are. Yes.
And my that's a
plug,
fact.
Yeah, next month.
Cheap plug for you guys. And speaking of my last,
Woo.
All right, one at a time, ladies. No, I don't mean it like that. Guys, one at a time. Did you have something you wanted to add?
No, yeah, just plug that. Yeah. Again, this is the year of anniversaries. I was with Dave talking about Maniac 7, and my future project will be, again, showing that we're all getting old. Next month, it's going to be 30 years since Scott Hall jumped the railing and declared war. So, yes, right. I know.
Yeah.
All are dropping because we're all getting old.
Thank you so much, Oofman. And yeah, his tag at Oofman Entertainment. And Dave, finish up and we'll go home.
Sure thing. And my last thoughts, Gino, I think it's better we leave what you were going to talk about till next week because I think it's going to lead into the first Raw after after WrestleMania and the first SmackDown after WrestleMania because by next Wednesday, we may see some lists of cuts also. And then we could talk about what were the best returns and bringing on people on the new first Raw and SmackDown of the year after WrestleMania. I think we're going to have a great show lined up next week.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. And again, you heard what he said. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat room live. And if you're watching this and you want to see what the chat room was saying, besides everything I was pulling up, I tried to pull up everything, but make sure you click that little icon that shows the live chat because the comment section and the live chat section are different. So make sure you enjoy that. We've got plenty of other content here on the channel. I got the whole playlist of Major Push Wrestling Talk Show. I'm also going to be doing some other things, live streaming Rocket League right after this, and do a little bit of movie and TV show reviews, but we might be splitting up the channels. But either way, thank you so much for being here, gentlemen, and everybody in the chat, from Vinny to Dwayne to Kevin. New names and faces in the chat, guys. It really does mean a lot to me. And yeah, I just hope you guys have a fantastic evening. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.